Tennessee, where freedom is alive. Get shot straight from the woods. Take off 45. Life is good. She's gonna handle any problem. There's comments here in Nashville neighborhood. About free. Life is good. He's always sitting down in the woods. In Hollywood, if he could. Life is good. He wouldn't be here even if he could. Life is good.
I just had to hit the gong before the music stopped. I might have hit it on one of those early shots. I hadn't shot this thing forever, and I thought, bait and switch again, right? This is not what you saw in the thumbnail. But that's going to be a first shot deal, so I thought I would let you know when we fire the first shots together. I brought this out, my Model 65, to plink somewhere else. In the mood to shoot this thing. Hadn't shot it for a while, and had to put a couple of rounds in there pretty quickly and get another shot off. To hit that gong, because I know I can hit almost anything with this that I can see. Well, that's a stretch, right? Anything reasonably close, big, whatever. Even though it's double action only, because some idiot filed off the hammer. Wonder who that was. Anyway, your internet shooting companion, coming to you from the beautiful hills of Tennessee. Yes, Tennessee, the home of James Yeager. Yes, Jeff Quinn and others that have sadly passed away. Okay, so yeah, that's where we are in Tennessee, and a fall day, and it feels like fall, really. I don't want to see cold weather. Ah, man, it's like a, what is it? You get the best weather of the year in the fall. Beautiful, dry, balmy, 70 degrees and everything, bug-free, humidity-free, and you just want it to last forever. But no, it's a warning, right, partly. Winter is coming, yes. But it's one of those glass half full, half empty deals, right? You don't want to sit around in this beautiful weather in the fall and waste it because you're worried and thinking and dreading the future winter, right? A lot of people do that. They waste their lives and in negativity, worrying about what could happen or what's going to happen, and not enjoying the present. So consequently their entire life is miserable. Everybody has these periods of time that are wonderful. Some are average, some not so good. That's the way it is, right? That is natural. It's going to happen. And if you spend all your energy dreading and hating and not enjoying the present because you know what might be coming or what is coming or whatever, then all of your life is miserable, not just those small portions of it. Bring it on. So glad you're here. It is a Sunday shoot around number 144, October the 2nd. Yeah, it deserves to feel like fall, right? In Tennessee, once October hits, once October hots or whatever, once October hits, it should be feeling a little bit like fall at times, right? Sometimes a lot like fall. So glad you're here, and yeah, I did a little bait and switch. I got the metal, the M&P 9 metal, and I'm going to soak these guns in ballistol and wrap them up with Talon grips. Well, maybe not today, but I typically use Talon grips on my own guns and don't put them on borrowed guns very often. I have done that a time or two in order to give a more valid comparison for myself, and you too, but for myself too. What was it? Not long ago, and I was comparing with a gun I had. It was mine. I had it wrapped up with Talon grips because I like them, and my gun would just won on top. It would come out on top in terms of my impressions, because the gun we were reviewing, whatever it was fine, but it didn't, the grip just didn't, it felt bad, and maybe it was even slippery or something. And so I put them on that one. And so I've done that a couple of times just to kind of have an apples to apples and give a more legitimate opinion from my standpoint, because I don't shoot firearms that are slippery. I just don't, generally speaking. Any firearm I own that has a slippery polymer grip or whatever, I'm going to fix it one way or the other. So I just don't spend much time firing a gun that doesn't have a pretty good grip on it. Now this one has a pretty good grip from the factory. You know, it's got some friction. So I wouldn't have to do that just to give it a valid test, you know, unless it was to make it a little bigger or something, fit my hand better. But some firearms, I've talked about this for years, just because it's polymer and they've got all these cuts and grooves and jags in it, some of those are the slipperiest guns in your hand out there. Duh. You know, it takes a, and gun companies are getting smarter about that. They're using like smaller, no, I don't know, little ridges and things in them that are sharper and whatever. So you actually get a little bit of friction, you know, with it. So that's what we got, the M&P metal. I think the frame on this gun is metal, yeah, instead of polymer. The difference between the regular M&P 2.0. Let's take a shot with it. This will be the first shots. First shots fired. And speaking of barrel saw, I didn't put it on it. I'll assume it's lubed enough for a couple of shots here. Before we do a video with it, a main video, I'll lube her up. All right. Ooh, right in the red. Ooh, it's very accurate pistol. I like that trigger. Hey, that thing feels good. Let's go on out. Tell you what, I like that dude. I like that gun. That's a nice trigger. Pleasantly surprised. I thought I'd pull it a time or two. Let me kind of shoot it again. Cowboy. That thing feels good. Got to know where to hold when you're shooting weak-handed. Yeah, man, nice trigger. Hey, that thing feels great. Oh, really, not just saying that. I don't do that. Just saying it. Yeah, okay. Now that would have nothing necessarily to do with the metal grip, I guess. I'm thinking I have to look at my M&P. I've got an M&P Compact 2.0. In fact, I'm so dumb, I thought, well, that's great. I've got an M&P 2.0. I'll get the mags out of that. You know, that way I'll have, in fact, I'm thinking I bought a couple extra mags. I can find all my mags. I'll have lots of mags for the video with this. I got digging around this morning, and I don't know, I couldn't find them for one thing. I keep all my mags in bags and labels. I'm not a total idiot, or I never find anything, but I couldn't find them. I just pretty sure I have a couple of extras for that somewhere. But I couldn't put my hands on it, so I got the M&P 2.0 out, my polymer one, and took the mag out. Well, heck, at least I got 3 mags. Well, no, I don't. It's a compact. I don't know what I was thinking. I knew it was a compact, but I wasn't thinking about this being a full size. I guess I forget. I don't know if we've ever done a full size M&P. I forget they make the full size with 16 round. It shows there. No, 17 round mag. Okay, so I thought it would be 17. So yeah, oh man, that thing feels good. That trigger and that I'll tell you what, I have to do some comparison with my M&P, and even the sight picture just looks really, maybe it's because the slide's a little bit longer, and that's it. I mean, I'm trying to get my, yeah, get this back in, yeah, because I want to be sure and remind you that hopefully you caught John doing some comedy in Chicago. You might have seen his postings on Instagram at the Zanies in Chicago and everything. And he'll be at the at October 7th and 8th at the Comedy Catch in Chattanooga. Okay, I believe hosting there on the October 7th and 8th. All right, coming right up this weekend. And then in Arizona on November the 3rd and 4th in Lowell, Arizona, at the Grove. And then Huntsville, Alabama, Stand Up Live, December 15th through the 17th with Jamie LaSalle. And then at Zanies in Nashville with Jamie LaSalle on December 18th. Okay, you got all that today. All right. So here I am, and I'm going to shoot. I've already shot 2 guns. Wow. I might have to reload a mag. I'm going to reload a magazine and shoot that thing some more. It felt good, and you know, I don't say that unless I mean it, right? It's really, where's my speed loader or my loader? There it is. It's hiding. I loaded these mags with it. I knew it couldn't have gotten away, but yeah, I mean, obviously by now, you know, that's just one of the deals around here. I don't make a big deal out of it. Just, you know, been totally objective, and we'll continue that. And some people, I think, look at that as they put too much credence maybe in being negative sometimes. And I even suspected some people being in a real bashing mode sometimes, trying to make it look like maybe they're even more objective than other people or something. Oh, somebody's going to really, really bash something. And sometimes I've almost suspected that someone might just have picked out, they got a grudge against that company for some reason. Maybe they wouldn't give them a gun or whatever it might be. This is way back, you know, especially. But, and so choose one of their guns to bash the heck out of it or something, you know. You don't know, it's hard to know, but I look at it a little bit more from a more neutral standpoint, I guess. I enjoy being able to criticize any firearm that we're looking at, including my own, you know, and then also compliment them, you know, whatever, and just know that you all know that's, of course, genuine. Whatever my opinion is what it is. The gun malfunctions, or I don't like something about it, or whatever it might be. Like the X10 we posted this week, that you have malfunction, you know, in the video. It's my gun. So yeah, I don't know. You don't know what to think about it, you know. I kind of reserve judgment, I guess. It's too much of a severe judgment on a newer gun until I really have it broken in, I guess. And kind of reserve judgment on new guns that come out until a lot of people have them and have shot them. You know, like I talked about that with the Prodigy. Some people apparently were having trouble with that. I wasn't aware of that because we didn't have any trouble with it, but it doesn't matter. It could work either way. The answer is out there. The answer is not in any one gun reviewer's pocket or channel. The answer is really amongst all of them. There could be a firearm that comes out next year, and most people are having trouble with it, and then someone doesn't have any trouble, or 2 or 3 people that shoot it a lot don't have any trouble, but 90% of the people have trouble with it. Well, you have to average that out, and you don't necessarily ignore the fact that so-and-so didn't have any trouble with it, but again, it's all factored in. You know, if a certain number of people have a lot of trouble with something, then, you know, there's a good chance you're going to have trouble with it, right? No matter what my experience is, good or bad. So But anyway, I don't know how I got off on all that. Again, watch out for the scammers. Okay, they're full at it, man. Full at it. If you are savvy at all, uh, if you're not gullible and you've been around a little bit, you get out of the house occasionally, you're on the internet, you see this stuff all over the place. They're trying to scam you every way you can imagine. Emails, look at your email spam. You know, when you look at your spam box, mine's loaded every day, and all the crazy attempts to get me to open an email. Your account has expired, all this kind of stuff. You know, it's just bizarre. And it also gripes me that I get so many emails from various whatever places, and I haven't even done business with them. And I get all this spam, all this junk, and you start to delete it or you send it to spam or whatever. Say, would you like to unsubscribe from this company or this sender? Well, yeah, I never subscribed in the first place, you know. There's something government could do. Government could do some useful things. They could really have a task force working on that kind of thing, seems to me. I mean, you know, the world is almost to the point where our virtual world, I mean, it's not in jeopardy of being shut down next week or anything. But, you know, when everybody on the planet could send you an email somehow and get it to you, it renders your ability to communicate just so ineffective. You know, you got so much coming at you, you can't deal with it. Yeah, the great news email is you can quickly communicate with people. The bad news is the same thing. Everybody can send you spam, try to sell you something to the point where you can't even sift through it, and you give up and don't even sift through it. Go back to writing old-fashioned letters and taking them to the post office to mail. Really, we may be back to that point. That'd be a good project for somebody like Rand Paul or somebody, you know, just to, yeah, man, I don't know. I'm not for more laws, but generally, but maybe some really, really stiff penalty, whether you're in this country or you're in India or anywhere else. If you're blasting spam out, we drop a smart bomb on your house. I don't know. I'd be tempted. I tell you, I get tired of that. That's a part of my rant for the day. Also want to thank Gun Fun Targets for making these paper targets for us. Okay, I forget about them. Great help. Oh, you know what? Something I made a note about. I was parked at a light somewhere, I guess this week, and I saw a car from Connecticut in front of me. The license tag was Connecticut, and I just laughed because their slogan on their license tag is the Constitution State. I said, oh yeah, really. That's a joke. Look at the laws up there. Go buy a gun in Connecticut. Oh, suppressor or an NFA item. Constitution State. Maybe it used to be. Just like Massachusetts used to be a revered firearms manufacturing state, you know, that kind of thing. Before they became more like a communist state and ran them all off. Yeah, nice. Yeah, the world has changed dramatically, hasn't it? All those institutions, those old institutions that were revered and we generally have had so much respect for. I've talked about this before, you know, the FBI, whatever it is. Yeah, we're not so sure now after so many agencies and different things have been politicized, you know, so. But anyway, yeah, bizarre. Hopefully you survived Florida, you survived the hurricane, because man, did it hit you all hard down there. And think about you folks. That's a tricky business, man. Those things hit hard. The only consolation is you know they're coming. You know, unlike a tornado, so much those things can pop up. Like I'm probably just came to me. I'm probably more at risk being killed by a tornado living right here than I am being killed by a hurricane if I live on the beach in Florida. Really, to make sense. Because man, they just pop up in the night or something here. I mean, sometimes you have warning, you have tornado conditions and all that. But man, they come up fast and incredible force. Just down on your house or in your area, something occasional. Whereas with hurricanes, at least you get a warning. Now, back in 1800, I guess you didn't get much warning, other than maybe watching the animals and how the atmosphere and feeling it coming, but maybe. But, usually know days and days in advance. And plus, there's another factor. Not to be hard on folks who live on the beach, okay? Might end up living on the beach myself someday. But guess what? If I live on the beach, I will be living in a bunker. Or I will have a bunker. My abode will be built like a bunker. Let me put it that way. Because if you live on the beach, now I know there's some beaches where you don't get hurricanes, I guess, but in this country, but now don't get them out on the Pacific, right? But beach. But if you live along the coast, along the Atlantic, Florida, the Gulf, around there, it's not a matter of if, right? In terms of whether you're going to have a hurricane or not. It's, the word, wind. It's going, not W-I-N-D, W-H-E-N. It's wind. You're going to have a hurricane with wind, W-I-N-D, right? So it's going to happen. And, it's always interesting, again, to pick on folks in Florida. You're probably prepared. If you're watching this and you're into firearms, you're very likely one of those people who is as prepared as you can be, at least. And but I'm just always shocked looking at it from afar in the news. That hurricanes coming, within 3-4 days, and the grocery stores are emptied out. People in there with carts full of water. And Home Depot loading up all the plywood and nails and buying a hammer and all this kind of thing to batten down the hatches and the grocery stores. I get some, and like I say, down there it's a matter of when. Why do you want to be in that chaotic state? Chaotic condition. Having to fight the crowds, trying to get that last jug of water because hurricanes coming, But no surprise, most people don't prepare for the future, right? In any way, almost. So you shouldn't be surprised, but it's just almost comical. Now anybody could get caught in a bind, or they're out trying to help their family members because they haven't prepared. I realize all that, but still, wow. If I lived on the beach in Florida, I would never be without a week's worth of, at least, of water, food. If I'm going to board up my windows, I would have the plywood already cut and drilled. It's just a matter of go out and stick it up there and screw it in, nail it in, or whatever for each window that I need to protect. I'd have some sandbags. I'd have a pile of sand. My kids had the best sandbox because I just always make sure I had plenty of sand for them to play in. And then I have some bags around, and they start predicting or forecasting that a tornado or a hurricane is probably going to hit by in 3 days or whatever. Well, I'd fill up some of those bags and put them in front of the door, whatever I need to do, But or I have a door that doesn't need to be sandbagged, whatever. And everybody can't afford all the precautions, but the basics, the basics. But then again, those are the same people that when the dryer breaks down, in their house or the washing machine, it's a catastrophe, and there's no emergency money to fix it. It's those things that they're not ifs, they're when. They're going to happen. Car breaks down. You think your car's not going to break down? You don't have a budget item for that, for car service, car breakdown, emergency fund, or whatever. So if you have some special kind of vehicle that won't break down, won't have trouble. Oh well. sorry, I'm being mean today to people, aren't I? Gosh, what's wrong with me? I usually see the glass half full, but still, some things don't make sense. Uh, like my brain, right? Oh, I saw something again about the quiet quitting that's going on in with some people. They're just quietly quitting because they don't feel like they're getting paid well enough or whatever it might be. They feel like they work for a horrible company, probably racist or something, is in their mind, whatever. Quiet quitting. I thought, wow, what a phrase. So they're not really quitting, they're just not working very hard. They just kind of like a work slowdown, just quietly quitting, so they don't take work too seriously and everything. And I thought, well, that's all well and good, but if I had a company and I was depending on people and they started quietly quitting, I would start quietly firing, wouldn't you? All right, you're fired. All right, let's shoot something with the 357. Whoa, let's hit a Kentucky 2-liter. Oh yeah, I'm gonna go back over there and hit that gong. I knew that was off. There we go. Y'all didn't remind me. I need to hold a little higher. What's wrong with you? You all should remember these firearms by now. Let me try that again. This is the one, if you're new, that I ground off the hammer and to make it more tactical, less, more dehorned, as they say, and just a great little revolver. And one of the great things about it is you can see that bowling pin there. You can bring the hammer back to where it's ready to break, and then you can pop it. So it's almost like firing single action. It really is. So you don't really lose anything. That's why I should be hitting the gong. Okay, maybe too high. I don't know. Shooting blanks. Okay. I haven't shot enough this week. I've been out doing other things. But it is a really nice shooter. It will drive nails when I'm in a nail driving mood. Let's get in a nail driving mood. Okay, calm down. All right, let's get into Zen mode. Think about accuracy. All right, I know it's double action, it's 80 yards, but it's just right on. I just got to get myself steady. It's a 3-inch barrel. Again, this is like the FBI gun, the old FBI revolver, model 13, except this is the stainless version of it. The DEA used to carry this one, and some of the FBI agents in stainless. Very, very nice revolver. Lots of power, handy, nice. Gosh, what else is going on? Well, let's give you some advice. Do I have any advice for young people in case I get tired of looking at you all and have to leave or make you all leave? Yeah, I'm recording. Advice to young people. I had a couple of notes. I don't know. I think one of the things that you all face, as all of us do, especially these days, is learning who you should listen to. Besides me, who should you listen to for advice? Who can you trust? What sources do you trust? Gosh, I don't know. What groups do you trust? Which people's reactions do you give credibility to when something happens? I mean, you name it. One of my favorite lines I hear over and over, and you do too, on the news, quote unquote news, is think about how many stories will start out with, however legitimate the stories are, but like there was a so-and-so faced a backlash on Twitter this week, okay, or someone's followers were upset, you know, or there was the Twitter sphere, Twitter sphere, I guess, reacted negatively to so and so, whatever. Well, no kidding. No kidding. There's always going to be a negative reaction. There's always going to be a positive reaction, to something. Our job is to figure out what it means, to interpret it. Okay, because think about it, on whatever you do on social media, if you make, I don't know, it wouldn't have to be terribly controversial, would it? But even slightly controversial, or something that you know people are going to have different opinions on. Now, I guess it's a little different on Facebook if it's just your friends, because generally most of your friends are going to agree with you on things, right? But if you're posting somewhere where it gets out more, and it's in any way one of those issues that has, the country's divided on it, okay, whatever. Well, you're going to get a lot of people that love you. You're going to get some people that seem to hate you and give you a negative reaction, don't you? And in some ways that may not be as tough to deal with, but I don't know. So how do you know what's legitimate here? Because you don't know how many people is it that are really upset. Is it thousands, or is it 3 people? Because a very small group can seem very big on the internet. Restaurant evaluations, reviews. It's just anything like that. You could have the tail wagging the dog, as I say often, pretty easily if you're not careful. If you're running a business or you're doing anything where you're constantly getting feedback, you've got to kind of sift through that and decide, well, what's legitimate, what's not. Because as well as I do with human nature, there's a lot of anonymous people out there looking for attention who don't have much of a life themselves. And so sometimes they're not very well adjusted, and they get turned on by tearing other people down. Do I need to tell you that? All of you went through middle school, right? So you got all that to factor in, all that human nature. And then too, the fact that a few people can seem like a lot of people, especially on social media. So you're left wondering, wow, I don't know. What if I have a restaurant and I make some of what I think are the best burgers in town? But on the restaurant reviews, maybe I open up this restaurant and really trying hard, and I do have some of the best burgers, use the best meat and all that, and at least I think so. And on the reviews, restaurant reviews, starts popping up like 3 or 4 people commenting loudly and very adamant about how the meat and the burgers is not very good. The burgers are overcooked. Burgers are overcooked. They're upset about it. Well, I don't know. Well, I didn't think they're overcooked. I thought that's why we sold a bunch of them. I thought that's what was a kind of our claim to fame, the way we cooked our burgers. But you see that every day. You see somebody saying that, and online reviews, and wow, and other people answering them. Maybe if you can do that and say, well, yeah, I was going to go there, but I don't like my burgers overcooked or something like that. And you start to worry about that a little bit, losing business and putting me out of business. So you start looking at the recipe and change that a little bit. You don't cook them quite as much, and maybe you don't get as many negative remarks like that. But then you notice sales are going down or something. I don't know. So here, the point is, maybe they are overcooked for some people, but it's a really small number of people. And maybe if you've got 5 or 6 people remarking that way, heck, 2 or 3 of them might work for the competition. Yeah. Or they might be vegetarians or something. I don't know. But it might be someone just trying to hurt your business. And 2 or 3 of them are legit, but they're just hard to please. They like raw burgers. I don't know. The thing you don't know have visibility on is the 1,000 people or the 3,000 people who came to your restaurant over the months, ate your burgers, and just went away thinking, man, those were good. Those were good. And they come back and they get them. They order them again. They're not posting on the internet. Everything was fine, so they're not inclined. Well, let me see if I can evaluate this restaurant. They're not upset, so, like me, I typically don't do that. So, you're changing your freaking recipe, and the vast majority of people, the reason your business is doing pretty well from the start is your burgers are really good and cooked the way people like them. So anyway, it's hard to know, it really is. And if you're doing stuff online, same thing. You're going to have negative people posting negative, criticizing you for everything. And some even being really, really mean to you. That's just the nature of the internet. Everybody's anonymous. So like the bathroom wall, why are people so brave about writing things on the bathroom wall? That's because nobody sees it. They're anonymous, So it's hard to know, isn't it? It really is. So you got to be aware of that. If you're in middle school or wherever you are, just because somebody says something a negative about you, just because somebody posts something online, even they text you directly or whatever on your social media, you got to be careful about. You got to be thicker skinned. And you've got to be careful about giving it too much validity. That's just the way of the world these days, isn't it? It really is. But now you always have to keep in mind, there is the possibility. John and I, we got a PhD in this. We've been doing this for 14 years. So we got a master's degree early on in this, because it was like, what? People are upset about that? What? So-and-so, a couple of people didn't like that. Why would that make somebody mad? So we learned early on about this, and you always get that. But then you do have to keep in mind, you can't just ignore it, because maybe there is some validity to a criticism like that, or any kind. Yeah, maybe your burgers are overcooked. You always have to keep that in mind. Maybe they are overcooked, but then again, maybe it's those 3 or 4 people that their brain is overcooked, or they just don't know what's good. Yeah. So as I'm talking about that, I'm a little worried. I love the way Culver's cooks their burgers, for example. I don't want anybody to change them. So anyway, just be aware of that. I am so lucky. I had a hard enough time, most of us did, in middle school and getting through school. It's like you're thrown into a prison environment or something. You have no choice. You have to go to school. And you have all these immature people with big egos, just like adults, immature, big egos. But you're in a building with them all day long, and all the little cliquey stuff that goes on. At least when you're an adult and you get out in the world, you have more control about which cliques that you hang out with or what you do with your life. But in school, especially high school, middle school, it's just tough. It's just tough, really, because you're thrown in there, man. You got sink or swim. And do I need to tell you this? A lot of immaturity in a middle school or a high school. Okay, quite a bit, even in adult environments. So what can I shoot now? Oh, I've got another magazine for this thing. Again, if you're not familiar with this hadn't been out all that long. The M&P 9mm, M&P 2.0 metal, it's called, because it has a metal frame. And I've not done extensive research on it. I will before I do a video. There's some other differences, I think, with it. It's kind of neat. There's something desirable about all being metal, even though it's alloy. Okay, speaking of that, someone gave me a really hard time about calling it alloy, I had to remind him that, okay, I understand all metal, essentially, is an alloy of some sort, yeah, but in the firearms world, it's like the word accuracy. People know what you mean, generally, if you're talking about the accuracy of a firearm, and people know what you mean if you say the frame on a firearm is alloy, that means you wouldn't have even said it was alloy if it was steel. Okay, you wouldn't have brought it up. Or if it was polymer, you said polymer. If it's alloy, guess what kind of alloy it is, or we don't even talk about it. You're right, aluminum alloy. The slide is alloy, I'm sure, but steel. So basically in the firearms world, it's steel, alloy, stainless steel, of course, but it's alloy or it's polymer usually. Okay, let's shoot something. Did I cock it? Ah. Look at the dust. Yeah, that thing is pretty nice. Pretty nice. We live in great times. I started to say there's a lot of good polymer pistols out there now. I still think if this is polymer, I guess it's not. It's got some polymer on it, but these modern pistols are just great, aren't they? Wow. Back in the 70s. I don't know where I'd have been confused, like many of you are. At least in the 70s when I got into firearms, it was revolver world, so it was really just a matter of what caliber and how big the revolver you wanted, unless you did want a Model 1911 Colt, would have been a Colt, Browning high power. There were some other options, but wow, today there's a lot of options. See if I've calmed down enough to hit the goofy gong. I've got some 38 special too. I'll try it. I've shot these for a while. What else you want to know about before I get out of here? Videos. Let's see. You see that Python Chapter 2? Isn't that a beautiful, beautiful firearm? Gosh. And I'm so delighted so many people are interested in revolvers. So many young people and old. You just, you may not, own any yet, but I think most people that are really into firearms, it's in the plan to have a revolver of some sort. But just, why not, All right. You get a good stance. Okay, I had a time or two there. I don't know what's wrong with me. I can usually shoot that thing better than that. Oh, I just mixed up my 38 special with my 357 brass. I should be beat for that. I hate it when that happens. Mixing up brass. That is, there we go. That is one reason that I have always, somehow I was smart enough, must have had somebody advise me. I don't know, back in the, like 74 or 73, I guess. But when I first started hand loading, there was 38 special brass galore. I remember going into Gun City, I guess, in Nashville. He had a big box. It was full of that stuff. There's, 50 pounds of it. You could buy all the 30 special brass you wanted. And because so many people shot it back then, of course. I guess that came off their range. People who didn't hand load just left it there or something, I don't know. But I didn't own a 38 special. And I was shooting, and someone probably, I read it somewhere, I don't know. But I just used that's what these are, these 357 Magnum cases from, I don't know how much brass I bought. I bought factory ammo, and probably bought some even back then, but then I just reloaded myself. And I just figured out that maybe it was because I read of that issue where if you use a shorter K, 38 special, you get a ring of dirt further back and all that, and then you put the longer round in, and you get a dirty chamber and that kind of thing. I don't remember why I did it exactly, but I've continued to always do it, and that is if I'm on a lighter load, I just don't load 38s. I said, why don't I just load 357 Magnum cases with a lighter load, a light Magnum load, same thing I do with 44 Magnums. And so for a load that I'm going to shoot, generally it's my go-to load to shoot, target shoot, enjoy. And then I can move up or down if I really want to. If something more extreme, like something a lot hotter, I can shoot some factory loads. I've always done that with 44. If I was ever shooting really hot rounds with 44, it was from a box of factory ammo I bought. Up until recently, I've loaded some hot stuff, heavy bullets and things in recent years, but I would just get a box of factory, jacketed, and help clean out the lead occasionally. But if I wanted a barn burner round, I would just have a few of those around. I didn't want to shoot many of them anyway; they're no fun. So I had a light Magnum load. I would shoot 250 grain cast bullet, and did the same thing, in a Magnum case. Same thing with 357. Just load a lighter load, a comfortable Magnum load, and that was my go-to round. I've shot thousands of, and still do. 158 grain lead hard cast bullet, and so that I can pick up almost any 357, shoot those, and they're fairly comfortable to shoot. They're still a light Magnum. They're not quite as light as well, you could tell from what I was shooting. Those 38s took forever to get out there, and so they're not that light. But if I want something really light, I can shoot some 38 specials. Let me try this again. So I don't know. That's a little lesson that doesn't mean anything to a lot of you, but it's kind of what I've always done. And if it's what I've always done, it's got to be the most brilliant move, right? All right, let me miss it some more. I'm feeling better, a little more steady there. It is a challenge, of course, shooting a double action 3-inch barrel at 80 yards, but it's easier than you think too, though, because it has a nice double action. Watch this, I'll put it right on the SDI badge. See? I'll put it right on the red plate. Click. Very nice gun. I've said many times, if that's the only firearm I owned, I would feel very well armed, very well armed. Very nice, very nice. So, okay. So anyway, I hope you saw the videos this week. Again, 3-4 videos every week. Hope you're keeping up with what we do. And I've been enjoying shooting. Shot my flintlock a lot one day this week. Didn't do a video yet with it, but I had some fun with that. And got some other guns to shoot. Glad to get some shots through that. And got a Ruger LC carbine that will be, maybe I'll bring it out next week. We'll be shooting that some. And anything I'm forgetting that you're dying to know about? Yeah, I don't know. Probably nothing too important. So, well, I know one thing I made it note about. I see it occasionally in videos. Someone will say, no thanks, I'll keep my whatever gun. Okay. I've known all through the years, I see comments like that, and I don't know, it's just what someone says, nah, no thanks, I'm not interested in that gun, I'll keep my gun. That's like something any of us would say, of course, but sometimes I wonder if I hope no one gets the impression that I'm trying to sell you a gun. Now, I do enjoy this hobby immensely, and hope that everybody does and can. And I'm making you aware of a firearm that maybe is fun to shoot, or shoots well, or seems like a good gun. I'm making you aware of. That's kind of a service we provide, right? It's what we do. But I am not certainly like trying to sell you I might brag on this gun a lot. I'll shoot some more, and then when we do a video, I might brag on it a lot. But I'm not saying you ought to buy this. There's a UPS man backing into the driveway. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, yeah. So, so I understand those comments, but I'm not, saying to buy this just because we do a video on it and all that kind of thing. So for some reason that reminded me of something. As much as I love all of you and appreciate you and enjoy running into you, running at 2 or 3 of you a day already. I was out and around. Something died over here. There's a dead animal I keep smelling. I hope it's not a body down in that tree. Well, it is a dead body apparently, whether it's a bird or a groundhog or whatever. But I have a lot of people trying to reach me, and I skim through Facebook and I try to answer some of you, and even in comments on videos and different things. But I have a lot of people trying to reach me, and I wish I could talk to everybody and meet everybody. And every week there's 2 or 3 people, right? They don't see the FAQ videos or something on the playlist, and they want to come to the range and shoot. I mean, it's a constant, flow of that sort of thing. People trying to reach me or try to call me or whatever. I don't answer the phone. I don't return phone calls, unless somebody's in my phone. I still don't even look at stuff that calls the house, and I don't answer a phone, house phone, cell phone or anything unless they're in my phone. I just can't, I don't have secretaries to deal with that kind of thing. And my wife will check messages at the house sometimes, but unless it's something, no one calls the house. If they don't know my cell phone, and if my number's not in my cell phone, really, it's nobody I can talk to. I just can't. I wish I could, but anyway, just a reminder of that, and also again, I apologize for not being able to answer all the messages on the Hickok 45 public page, the Hickok 45 Facebook. I do answer some of them, as you know, but I skim through and I'll answer some of those. But it's just the nature of it. I mean, it's weird. There's a bit of a paradox, I apologize for not being able to talk to you, meet you, other than here. But then again, I talk to you all every day somewhere. Was I today? Market in Clarksville is one of the places I ran into somebody, and at Lowe's, and I'm happy to chat, happy to chat. And but it's just too many folks that try to contact me or whatever, kind of thing. So I am glad that you enjoy what we do. I really am. Again, I'm so thankful that enough of you enjoy what we do that we can do this. Continue doing it because it's fun. It's fun. I enjoy bringing you these firearms, these new it's not polymer, but new pistols like this, and giving you our opinion of them, shooting them, and then as well classic guns, whether it's a 1911 or a muzzle loader, a flintlock, because I genuinely like all of them. I really enjoyed shooting this today. In fact, this is a good shoot. It has a nice trigger. They've improved that. I don't feel a bit of grit. That's kind of M&P are famous for that, aren't they? Yeah, sweet. And I genuinely enjoy shooting a nice new firearm, and genuinely enjoy the historical firearms. Like I said, I got out my flintlock Kentucky rifle or long rifle this week. Nobody around, no cameras, and I just shot the thing for a couple of hours trying to figure out where to hold and learn to shoot a flintlock. Flints, even with a good lock, it's a challenge. And I had all my mess and everything out like I do in the videos. You have to have all that stuff, and just my wife's out of town, John's out of town, and I mean, I'd do it anyway, but it's a nice afternoon. I'm going to get that thing out. We get more shade on the shooting table this time of year, okay, while the leaves are still out because of the sun, the earth has moved. Of course, the seasons are changing, and I tell you about that. And so even in the middle of the day, sometimes there's some shade out there, and you're not just right in the sun. Of course, as it gets cool, sun is nice, right? But I just thoroughly enjoyed it and cleaned it up, and put it back in the safe. And I may do it again next week. Just shoot it. I don't know, because I know there's a more limited interest in shooting a flintlock or a Hawken rifle out there. I understand that. If I do video on this gun tomorrow and post it, won't be doing that tomorrow, but and then the next day I do a video on a muzzle loader I've gotten to review, one I bought. Well, the video on this gun will get 2 or 3 times as many views. That's just simple, I've just done it too many times. Same with a really cool old Civil War rifle, it's just amazing, But yeah, that's the way it is. That's more of a niche area. I wish it were not. Part of it is your fault, folks. You have not yet discovered the joys of muzzle loading, black powder, flintlocks, and all of that. Really, I give you a hard time for not having a single action yet, or a 1911, or a lever gun. I know, and well, here I am giving you trouble for grief for not having a muzzle loader yet. All of those ought to be on your long range to-do list, because they're all equally fun. They really are. And my gosh, the history, of like the flintlock. There is no more historical firearm. That was at the top of the heap in this country. That is the top of the heap in terms of historical significance. Way beyond probably the AR, M16, AK, any of that. AK is not this country necessarily, but just the history for hundreds of years. Anyway, I enjoy all that, which, for those of you who know Mike Miller, who builds, muzzle loaders, I got a splendid opportunity this week, visited his shop up in Kentucky. I wouldn't say too much about that, but that was really cool. He's a contemporary muzzleloader builder, long rifles mostly, but he can build other things. But anyway, great guy. I see him at Friendship all the time, and an artist. I have so much admiration for someone who can build something, draw something, paint a picture. I guess I've always been envious of people who could do that and do it really well. It's just such a special skill and talent. And some of you all, you can do things like that. And I've never been that good at that. Some things I can do okay, but I just never had that kind of artistic ability. I've had inclination maybe, but there's not much there to work with. Like someone who wants to be a singer, but no voice. So I really envy. There's an area I do envy people who have that kind of skill. But anyway, it was kind of neat because you could say he has an interest in the old historical firearms. If you actually are one of the top builders in the country of those things, you probably are pretty interested in it, right? So that was kind of neat. So anyway, you know me, I like them all, whether it's an AK or an AR-15 or a laser gun or a muzzle loader. I don't know about laser guns. If the next phase is some sort of laser gun that shoots lasers, it renders all of our firearms obsolete, that would be difficult to develop any love for that. I just have always liked brass and lead and copper, slinging lead, heavy bullets. It's steel or wood or whatever, paper even. I can't get excited about a laser. I think you get there too fast, So I'm rambling, and you can tell, can't you? So if I forgot to tell you anything important, I'll save it for next week. So again, we appreciate everybody that helps us, and appreciate you supporting them. Let them know that they know we appreciate them, but let them know if you buy from them or you shop there or whatever. We really do appreciate the support we get from them and from you all especially, because you make all this possible, and it's fun to come out and talk to you on Sundays like this. And again, make sure you're subscribed, because I'm still seeing all those comments with people, oh, I didn't. I bet I have seen 4 or 5 of those just in the last day or two. Well, it's good to see you again, or I missed you. You might have seen a comment. I'll answer someone like that occasionally. It's, well, I'm sorry you missed me, man. Didn't you have an internet connection in the slammer? It's like, I've not been anywhere. Where have you been? So in jail, in prison, were you doing a prison sentence or something? So anyway, I know what it is. They just gotten unsubscribed somehow, and they, they're not getting videos recommended, so they don't. Oh, really? You're still making videos? Yeah. I wonder why sometimes. So anyway, I'm going to shut up, and you know what I could do before I let you go? I could shoot one more time. Would that be all right? One more time, because I've got this gun. Well, no, yeah, because I can. That's a pretty good reason, right? Because I can. I just feel like I need to shoot again. My good old Model 65. Okay. Let's just burn some steel right here. How about that? Good old 6-shooter. Hard to beat, right? Yeah. K-frame, 3-inch bull barrel, Model 65, carried by the DEA and some FBI. And yeah, I know all those agencies have been tarnished a little bit, but as we've talked about, we all know what those agencies carry, whether it is those or like the Los Angeles Police Department, the New York Police Department. It carries a lot of weight. Border Patrol, it carries a lot of weight, in civilians' decisions, firearms that they choose. The Border Patrol really hasn't been tarnished in my eyes. The people who run the country have been tarnished, because they won't let them do their job, of course. But the Border Patrol, those guys have a tough, gals and guys have a tough job. They really have a tough job, no doubt about that. But and even the upper echelon, some of these other agencies. I didn't mean to get off on this. I'm sorry. Some of the other agencies that we have learned to question, like what? We thought you all had so much prestige and integrity and everything, and then the frontline troops do. But whether it's the IRS or the CIA or the FBI, the Secret Service, whatever, a lot of those groups, you look at the leadership in those groups, and it's like, wow, what's going on with you all? The individual agents in the field, most of them are just fine doing their job, working hard, But what I was going to say, with the Border Patrol, I don't notice that as much. Am I missing something? The people who actually run the Border Patrol, for the most part, now not the politicians, but the people like in the field, the supervisors, managers, and they all are trying to do their job, I think. But I guess once you get up to the political level, that's what you run into. It's the same with city police departments, whether it's Nashville or anything. Once you get up to like the police chief in a lot of cities, they're very, very, very political. They always have been. Politically minded, politically motivated, that sort of thing. And so that's human nature, I guess. It's the way it's been for a long time and will probably always be. That is why it is so important to be involved and vote. Yeah, make sure you vote. I've been seeing a lot of stuff online, whether you're going through Instagram or anything, all these memes or things about vote. Make sure you vote. AOL, Facebook, make sure you vote, make sure you vote. Well, what a lot of these platforms, they really want to make sure they get out their base to vote, because they know who a lot of people are going to vote for, maybe. They want to get people to vote and to register. Yeah, I see a lot of that, don't you? Get registered, and here's how you register. Well, you know, people who have to have their hand held to know how to register and go vote, you know, I'm always suspicious that that's just people trying to drum up more votes, uh, uninformed votes. You know, I'm a little different in that regard. I I encourage people to vote all the time, and I think you should. But now, if you don't know much, you don't keep up with issues, you don't really think very deeply, you don't really know who the first president of this country was, you couldn't name the vice president right now, you don't know what the Bill of Rights is, you're still clueless about the Declaration of Independence, you've never heard of James Madison, you don't know who Thomas Jefferson was, uh, don't bother to vote. Don't bother. You don't need to vote. Everybody doesn't need to vote. Let the people vote who are informed a little bit more. You know, I think that might be a better plan, don't you? Life is good.